everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Sydney. I'm a software engineer as well as a content creator that focuses a lot on figuring out ways to get into the tech industry as well as producing advice on productivity habits to help you have a better life. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about here and it's just on my heart, so let's just get into it. My gripe today is that I recently saw a Twitter post that is from a Kat McGee, and she is apparently your favorite tech nerd, with this little tiddy going into how whenever I meet someone and telling them I'm a programmer, they always immediately assume that I'm super smart. Guys, can we collectively try to make people understand that coding is not difficult? It is literally Googling and fixing bugs we caused in the first place. Anyone can code. Now, there are a couple of problems that I have kind of with this particular post, but I feel like the person that has kind of made sure that they summarized my feelings the most is the queen of coding herself, Angie Jones, which she replies, "We can be honest without gatekeeping. Kim Creighton's post from a few years ago, stop lying to newbies." To newbies actually, stuck with me. She warned us not to mislead people into thinking that programming is easy, only to have them terribly discouraged when they finally learn the truth. And I feel like that actually stuck with me this time because I feel like I have been going through a certain phase of a task that may be a little bit easier to some of the more experienced devs, especially my mentors, versus like me trying to make sure that I figure out kind of what's going on in the first place. And I'm asking questions to my mentor. And these are like apparently quote unquote easy tasks, but like why would I go to you in the first place if that is such a quote unquote easy task? So I really don't love that we have this kind of weird warped interpretation of what difficulty level it is for being able to code. And so I just did a little bit of digging myself. Kim Creighton is another person that I believe is an amazing advocate for diversity as well as inclusion and making sure that we cause a scene essentially in the tech environment and the workplace for advocating for Black people, making sure that we all have a voice when it comes to the spaces that we are in the tech industry. And I started reading her Stop Lying to Newbies, her article, and just that was an incredible, that was an awesome take. And I really feel like I have been in this situation where I've been almost gaslit in some ways, where I've gone to the extreme where I was discouraged first off when coming to coding that it's for geniuses, and then kind of going into it as my first job, it's been where there are tasks that have been easy, but then there have been people that have told me that this task is easy, but I still don't get it, and there are still some things that I feel like I need to ask questions for and walk through, and there's a little bit of discouragement that I feel when it comes to that. I feel like I'm dumb. I feel like there's just no support or empathy when I am trying to figure out what the solution is, even though it might be a quote-unquote easy problem to solve to some of my other peers. So I did a little bit of an experiment of my own and asked the Twitterverse, as well as Instagram, what exactly are some discouraging things that people, peers, mentors, friends have said, especially when it comes to their tech careers, their progress in their tech careers. And y'all showed up and showed out. Thank you so much to the people on Twitter and Instagram that gave me their stories. I promise that I will do the best that I can to cover all of the ones that people gave me, and I will today, I just want to read them out loud and kind of talk about them. Just talk about what exactly is going on with some of these things that people have said to my friends and my mentors and these people that follow me. So thank you very much for all of your submissions. I really appreciate this. Let's just get into it. So I have my Mac here, and there are a couple of like really good juicy ones that I actually want to get into first, so let me actually look them up. So actually, how about this? I'll go first. So one of the things that I starkly remember kind of going into my role as a software engineer, like a Java software engineer, is that I was left off of a couple of meetings from a particular person, a particular developer who has verbally just out loud and has declared that, QA engineers should not be transferring their skills into Java as well as becoming developers in our practice, because it doesn't make sense, it's not right, and it just some really toxic craziness that he was saying about not having our kind of worlds kind of collide a little bit, and we need to make sure that we keep to our separate expertise. You have to be some sort of chaotic evil to first off be wanting to be that segregated first off, but also be intentionally not trying to include some really important people onto these meetings just to try and prove your point. You know who you are. I bet that you watch these videos, and I feel incredibly sad for you because I haven't looked or spoken to you in almost a year, and you still harbor some of that ill will. That was incredibly discouraging once I started, but then I realized that there's a lot of kind of evil things kind of going on in their brain, so I'm not gonna get into it. I wanna talk about some of these other things that people have been kind of going through when it comes to their tech career. So yeah, we're gonna start off with some of the things that may be small to others that have been communicated, but honestly, they still hurt the ego. They're still pretty upsetting and sad. And one person that I know, Miss Tara, thank you so much for submitting, is that one manager that she has had over the years said that it's so empowering to be able to achieve anything. And then her next manager told her point blank that they wouldn't be able to get a promotion in X number of months. And she found it really demotivating. And this is one of those kind of situations where just why? Why did you have to put all that evil out into the universe just to discourage a person? I'm so curious about that type of stuff that kind of people are going into when it comes to their logic, just to I don't want to. It definitely feels like they're trying to put people down, especially if one person was saying and giving all of this constructive feedback and everything, and then this person was no, you're not going to get that promotion in X amount of months. You're awesome. You're totally awesome, and that's really just unfortunate that manager did that to you. So screw them. My lovely friend on Twitter, Miss Erica, decided to submit. Thank you so much for doing that. Here's a fun one. When one of my friends found out I got promoted to my developer role, instead of congratulations, the first thing out of their mouth was, they let you do that? Do you even know anything about computers? So your friend's a jerk. That is an incredibly just horrible thing to say. And I know you, Erica, personally, and that you're going to definitely just knock the pants off of this person, because they clearly just have this discouraging kind of relationship with themselves on how just they've convinced themselves that they can't do all the cool shit that you can do. So do you. I hope that you have such a successful career. So go on, do your thing. Another person that decided to submit anonymously, thank you very much, said that passive-aggressive statements that are good job, but you have a long way to go. Obviously, as a person, you know that. And the main reason that people say that is to try and depress someone else's progress instead of appreciate it and actually try to be more of an advocate for their growth. Very rarely is good job, you have a long way to go, is a statement that is used as encouragement. Instead, it's used as a backhanded compliment. And I absolutely agree with this. I definitely have had people that were like, yeah, you have a long way to go when it comes to your career. And that's just not nice. You don't have any right to be crapping on anybody else's progress because you never know where people are in life. And I'm really sorry that that happened to you, but I also know this person and they're going to be great. They're awesome. I absolutely adore you. So Silvestri Codes is another person that I absolutely adore on Twitter. Thank you so much for submitting. While searching for my first developer role, I interviewed at a small startup that was hiring for a full stack engineering role. The people at the company knew that my SQL knowledge would barely qualify as basic. While I was able to provide answers and solutions for their front-end API questions, I had absolutely no response for the SQL questions, which makes sense in an interview. You normally say that you don't know something, and I know this part about it. He became very confused and agitated as I asked him to clarify questions on how certain queries worked and what he was doing as he answered the questions for me, and didn't provide much guidance or feedback when he asked for explanations on what the composed queries were doing. That's really interesting, that the fact that they weren't open to any type of getting or trying to like give feedback for like educational purposes, that sounds stressful. That sounds incredibly stressful to even have to deal with. And I don't want to have to justify anything that this person was doing. You didn't deserve any of that treatment. And I bet that that is discouraging, because what if other interviewers are the same way, where they don't give any type of feedback, and moreover, they are giving off that vibe that you're supposed to know this. Like, why are you interviewing for this in the first place if you don't know what's going on? That's horrible. And that's how you start weeding out people that actually might be a good fit to you and your company and your cause and your program and whatnot. And that's y'all are out here doing some crazy stuff. That's sad. So thank you so much for contributing, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you so much. Another person that I know on Twitter said that this is a very small incident. While working in retail, they were talking with a coworker about learning JavaScript and how it was stressing them out. And so they went on to tell this coworker, just what their progress was. And the coworker actually responded and said that A, there was no money to be made programming in JavaScript, and B, if it was so hard, like it wasn't too late to quit and just stay in retail. And just, I love this like really petty ass response. I absolutely just chef's kiss. This was great. They did let that coworker know that their spouse actually made enough money for this person to not work if chose to, and would still have their Range Rover and wouldn't have to worry about any type of money or anything. And so, as a person that's like in retail, why do you know that there's no money to be made in JavaScript? Is it because you've somehow conditioned yourself to like stop learning JavaScript somehow, and like you've thought that it was hard? Just, that's really sad that a person would need to respond that way to make themselves feel better about whatever is going on in their lives, that they're stuck in retail, or that, oh, programming was really hard for me, so it's going to be especially hard for this person. Like, get out of here. That's really horrible. And being a person that wasn't even a programmer, just eye roll. That's horrible. Thank you very much for sharing this. And this person has gone on to be a very successful developer. Absolutely adore you, just so you know. And you're going to do some badass things. So screw these haters. Absolutely screw them. Miss Ramona is another person that graciously decided to share their story. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She was saying that in Germany, there are a sort of apprenticeships as educational paths into tech, where you visit colleges and you start to gain work experiences at different companies, just kind of depending on where your progress is. So she claims that she wasn't lucky with their mentor, and in that role as an apprentice, she was told that, women couldn't do anything when it comes to tech. And that destroys people's self-confidence, especially while you're still kind of college age and still trying to figure everything out. She had already designed an app by herself, which actually got an offer that was sold. That's incredible. That's really awesome. Congratulations to you. And the mentor actually, the mentor was put on it as a creator. So they took credit? They took credit for this? Wow. Together with actions like moving all the women students to the front desk because it looked better, that was incredibly discouraging. And she was able to change companies after finishing the apprenticeship and was able to just regain more confidence with the other places that she was able to go to. Good for you. First off, good for you, because that sounds awful. And the fact that they were able to take all of the credit for themselves instead of trying to distribute any of that, what kind of chaotic evil do you need to be to do any of that? It just incredible. You are incredible, and that person is dog shit. That's not cool. This isn't anything that is a surprise to me, but just screw them. Screw them. This is I'm getting super mad about this, and I'm trying not to call people names or cuss them out or anything, because clearly all of these people have moved on to be successful developers, designers, whatever, but that still makes me mad, and I appreciate you submitting this. Thank you very much. Another submission I have is from Miss Abby. Thank you so much for submitting, and I really appreciate you. She had apparently spent 6 months studying pre-work before the boot camp that she attended and was struggling in the first few weeks, which is understandable. There's a lot of things that are kind of going on with the boot camp, and if you guys want more information about how to choose a boot camp, make sure that you check somewhere above my head where my link is to how to look at boot camps. That's another video that I have. Anyways, so she was struggling in the first few weeks at the boot camp, and actually a male classmate had said verbatim that it was because her husband, a developer, was in IT and has never touched JavaScript. Huh? What? I'm so confused on where some of the crap that people spit kind of come from, because are you discouraged yourself? Was that person struggling themselves, kind of going into their first couple of weeks and oh, because he didn't help you, or because you're a woman, you're not supposed to be doing that? Was that what he was kind of going for? So rude. That's rude. Oh, this is the best part. Her husband's response was basically, I take no responsibility for everything that she's learned, that Abby has learned, which that is amazing. So she has been able to become a successful developer without having to rely too much on what her husband's experience is. And apparently he knows Python, so he knew nothing about JavaScript, but having that support system, I'm sure is incredibly awesome for you. So congratulations to you and your husband. He sounds like a real one. Just good for you. I'm glad, because whoever that guy was, your classmate or whatever, sounds like an asshole. Another person who chose to be anonymous, thank you very much for submitting your response and sharing your story, was that they were excited to show an app that they had been working on to a couple of friends. So they had showed this app to a couple of friends, and one of them said, "Why do you feel the need to seek validation so badly? You can work on something without needing everyone to see it and compliment you on it." I truly believe that projection and imitation are two sides of the same coin when it comes to flattery. whether you are projecting onto other people your negative beliefs because you've convinced yourself that you are not capable of growing and evolving and doing anything that maybe your friend or colleague or family member are doing, or you are imitating whatever that family, friend, member, hero, colleague is doing because you want to be like them. It's the same thing. I am so sorry that your friend, your so-called friend, has decided to say this incredible amount of bullshit to you because they are projecting their own sadness and disappointment of not being able to do the cool shit that you have been able to do. And that is them just projecting all of their crappy problems on you. And you should honestly be flattered that they were able to reveal their negative feelings to you, and you should move on with your life. Please dump that friend, because that is not somebody that you want in your circle as you were growing as a developer. And you have seen finally their flattery in the form of just bad practice, bad conditioning on themselves, their self-confidence being kind of gross. And imitation is one of the more positive kind of forms of flattery. I do believe that that is two sides of the same coin when it comes to flattery, and you are awesome. And I really hope that you were able to completely, fully develop that app and potentially sell it, because you finally made some monies from that, and you throw it in their face because you absolutely deserve to have all the money in the world for designing an app and being proud of it. You should be proud, and I hope that you are proud. And screw that friend, break up with them. It really is a testament to you guys learning and growing for yourselves without having to deal with any, or at least like not having to worry about any of these haters and bullshit after the fact. You know, your feelings are valid. You can absolutely feel your feelings about this, but they have their own reasons to be on that projection and devil shit. All of these people that have said mean things to you need to go to therapy, and they probably have not gone to therapy to work whatever kind of crazy stuff is going on with their head. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. And I'm so glad that you guys were able to listen in. And I hope that any of you that decided not to submit any of your stories, or are currently kind of feeling something when it comes to something that a person said that was negative, I hope that this is a video that encourages you to keep going and feel your feelings, of course, whenever something has been said that is negative, but move on from that as a lesson, that there are going to be so many people that are going to project their real feelings onto you on what they have failed to do themselves, and will try to kind of like pull you down and like let them kind of like sit with you kind of like in their misery. And that's not what we want you to do. We want you to excel as a baby dev, as an experienced dev, as a senior dev, and I really hope that my content can help contribute to that. So absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. And before I decide to turn off the camera for today, I really want all of the people that are watching this video right now to consider figuring out ways to donate their time as well as their money to people that are really suffering in Texas right now. So there has been, of course, if you guys don't know, a crazy snowstorm that has blown through Texas. There is more snow coming. I know that a little bit of the stuff that's kind of like coming down now in Missouri is also going to be like moving south and eastward to other places in the country, and it's been pretty bad. I have seen the news articles where there have been massive rolling blackouts for more than 4 million people in Texas. And of course, the hardest hitting areas that are around these metro areas are places where a lot of Black and brown people live. There are a lot of people displaced from their homes right now. I really hope that you can consider giving some of your time as well as your money to these volunteer efforts to help these people get into safer spaces. I have myself donated money. I will make sure that I link some of the resources that I have in the description box below. I really hope that you all will consider donating anything that you can right now. If you are safe, if you are in a space of privilege to do so, please make sure that you donate. And if you liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell because I come up with weekly content, and make sure that you tell me about any experiences that you've had kind of negative or discouraging about your progress in your tech career, or honestly any career. Make sure you put those in the comments below, and be encouraging, be kind to the people that are kind of submitting their feelings about things, because we're all kind of like going through whatever mental like things that we're going through, and it's just a lot. And I hope that this was a video that gave some type of comfort, and you're not alone if you're feeling that way and somebody has said something mean to you. So that's all that I have for today. Bye.